Imagine this: being the architect of a musical empire, the man behind some of the biggest names in rap, signing Lil Wayne when he was just a kid, building Cash Money from scratch, and turning it into one of the most iconic brands in hip-hop history. Private jets, diamond chains, matte red Lamborghini, hundreds of millions. A life of excess and respect. But fast forward to 2025. And the story of Birdman the Mogul sounds different. For decades, Bryan "Baby" Williams was the uncrowned king of New Orleans. His label, his style, his way of doing business, aggressive, flashy, relentless. But today, at 56, he lives away from the noise, the studio, the camera. Fans ask, where is Birdman? Is he still making money? And what happened to his family, his cars, his houses? This is the raw and complete portrait of a man who had it all, and chose to walk away without explaining why. The rise, the millions, the betrayals, the silence. Bryan Williams was born in New Orleans in 1969. He grew up in the Magnolia Projects, where poverty was normal and violence routine. He lost his mother very young. He lost his father shortly after. The streets became his guide, his teacher, his only shot. But Birdman had vision, and he had hunger. With his brother Slim, he founded Cash Money Records in 1991. No office, no contacts, no access to MTV, just tapes, rented cars, and tons of charisma. And then it happened. They found a 12-year-old boy. His name, Dwayne Carter. They called him Lil Wayne. It was the beginning of a dynasty. Birdman didn't just sign Wayne. He created the Hot Boys, signed Juvenile, BG, Turk. Cash Money became unstoppable. A movement. A real threat to the New York labels. In 1998, Birdman and Slim did the unthinkable. A $30 million distribution deal with Universal, without giving up ownership of their masters. Something even Jay-Z hadn't pulled off. Birdman's name became synonymous with wealth. His logo, a stamp of respect. And his style, unmistakable. Chains thick as ropes, gold teeth, Louis Vuitton vests, and bills counted in music videos, one by one. He didn't just want respect. He wanted dominance. In the early 2000s, Birdman became an artist too. He dropped his own album. #1 Stunna became a battle cry. And at that moment, he was the #1. His videos looked like movies. His cars, rolling museums, Bugattis, Bentleys, Maybachs, all lined up. And his $30 million mansion in Miami became a symbol of power. But the gold had cracks. Rumors of unfair contracts began to swirl. Artists felt exploited. Beefs went from the studio to the courtroom. Turk left. BG left. Juvenile too. And though Wayne stayed, for a while, the relationship started to fracture. In 2015, Lil Wayne sued Birdman for $51 million. And the rap world froze. The boy he had raised like a son was now accusing him of stealing years of his career, of manipulating contracts, of holding back his album for personal reasons. And although the lawsuit was settled out of court, the wound was public. And it bled. For years, Birdman and Lil Wayne's relationship was sacred. The boy he had mentored became the face of his empire. But behind the gold and magazine covers, tension was building. Wayne wasn't getting full royalties. His album, Thaw Carter 5, was being delayed again and again without clear reasons. And, privately, they no longer spoke like before. In 2014, Wayne exploded on Twitter. He said Cash Money was holding him hostage as an artist, that they wouldn't let him go, that Birdman was sabotaging him. It was more than a fight. It was a public betrayal. A rap father and son breaking down in front of millions. The next year, the lawsuit came. $51 million for breach of contract. Birdman denied the accusations, said it was all a misunderstanding. But the courts spoke, and the legal battle turned into an emotional war. Amid the conflict, Wayne revealed he had considered retiring, that the weight of the betrayal had crushed him. Birdman, for his part, remained cold, said he still loved Wayne. But in actions, they stood on opposite sides of the story. The lawsuit dragged on for years. It was finally settled out of court in 2018. But the damage was done, and the industry knew it. Birdman was no longer seen as a mentor. He was seen as the millionaire who squeezed his artists. The silence that followed was even more uncomfortable. Just a few occasional pictures together, a few respectful phrases. But the real bond never returned. With Wayne's departure, Cash Money's dominance started to crack. BG had been gone since 2001. Turk had also left. Juvenile, a key piece of the rise, had distanced himself since 2003. And then, young artists no longer wanted to sign with Birdman. Not out of disrespect, but out of fear. Fear of losing creative control, of ending up like Wayne. Artists like Tyga, Mystical, and Jay Sean left the label. Rich Homie Quan broke away from Rich Gang. The spin-off Birdman tried to push after Cash Money's collapse. Young Thug, the new protege, never truly belonged. He signed deals, recorded tracks, but was never part of the family. Cash Money became a logo without an army, a castle without king. Meanwhile, Young Money, the label Wayne had built within Cash Money, kept generating millions. Drake and Nicki Minaj, both launched under Young Money, now shined without mentioning Birdman. They didn't attack him, but they didn't thank him either. Birdman tried to keep the image, still appeared in videos, showing off cars, watches, studios, but the aura of invincibility had vanished. The industry had changed. 360 deals became more transparent. Artists wanted independence, and Birdman represented the old model. Soon, Cash Money stopped dominating. It went from being the most feared label to a shadow of itself. And Birdman, the #1, started disappearing from the picture. After the lawsuit with Wayne and the weakening of Cash Money, Birdman stepped away from the spotlight. No more tours, no more new talent signings, no more loud talk. In interviews, he seemed calm, repeated phrases like, "All good with my son," or "I'm still winning." But the eyes don't lie. There was wear. There was disappointment. And above all, there was emptiness. Instead of signing artists, Birdman began selling assets. In 2017, he put his $30 million Miami mansion up for sale. He also got rid of several luxury cars. Bugattis, Lamborghinis, Rolls-Royces, all quietly leaving the garage. Some saw it as signs of bankruptcy, others as a simple lifestyle change. The truth was more complicated. Birdman had amassed a fortune, but also racked up debt. And his lifestyle, excessive, non-stop, aggressive, came at a cost. He paid salaries, flights, recordings, parties, and when the checks stopped coming in, the balance tipped. In 2020, legal documents leaked showing unpaid properties, lawsuits over defaults, and disputes with insurance companies. It was a slow collapse. Not tragic, but obvious. And as all that happened, Birdman retreated even further. He appeared on occasional podcasts, kept a low profile. No new scandals. No new feuds. Just silence. Birdman has children, but he rarely speaks about them publicly. In interviews, he mentions them fondly but without detail. He says he wants to protect them from the game, the noise, the cameras. Maybe because he knows the cost of growing up in the spotlight. Maybe because he learned from the pain he lived with Wayne. His brother Slim, co-founder of Cash Money, remains by his side. He was always the more reserved one, the one who avoided the flash, but moved just as many pieces. Slim and Birdman still manage part of Cash Money's catalog, and that catalog is worth gold. Drake, Nicki Minaj, Wayne. Their albums still generate millions. Royalties, streams, licensing. Birdman, despite everything, still earns, but not like before. Now he does it from the shadows. No flaunting, no jet videos, no shouting "Stunna" in every shot. And his legacy? Divided. To some, he's the father of an era, the one who broke the mold, who put New Orleans on the map. To others, he's the symbol of unfair deals, of the manipulation behind success. He never tried to clean his name, never asked for forgiveness, never fully explained his side. He just kept going. Because that's Birdman. He doesn't defend himself. He doesn't justify. He just survives. Birdman didn't disappear. He just changed boards. Instead of studios, he invested in real estate, properties in Miami, Louisiana, and Atlanta. Quietly, he bought and sold. No campaigns, no documentaries, just moves. He also invested in beverage companies, cryptocurrencies, and startups. Not all of them worked. Some collapsed. Others are still growing. But in each one, his mark was the same: risk, aggression, big bets. In 2023, he appeared at a private meeting in New York with streaming executives. He wasn't looking to record an album. He was looking to sell a piece of the Cash Money catalog. And while official figures weren't revealed, the deal was massive. Some valued it at over $100 million. Birdman understood the game. And he understood that sometimes silence is worth more than a headline. Today, in 2025, Birdman is 56 years old, and his style has changed. No more giant chains, no more stacks of bills. He walks discreetly. He looks calm. He lives part of the year in Miami, part in New Orleans. His circle is small. No more parties, no more noise. But those who see him say he's still the same. Firm, observant, inaccessible. He doesn't need attention, because he already had it all. He doesn't need to prove anything, because he already did everything. Birdman isn't a gentle legend. He's not a smiling mentor. He's an architect who built with concrete and fire, and left real scars. Some hate him, others worship him, but no one ignores him.